Okay, welcome to the PLF core training. So I've just got 3 videos here for you in this core training. The whole idea is just to give you a jump start before we get into module 1. So one of the things about Product Launch Formula, one of the key differences between Product Launch Formula and many trainings, or maybe even most trainings, and trust me, I go through a lot of different trainings, but one of the key things about Product Launch Formula is it's proven, and just the depth it's proven at, that, I've had success after success, but I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients that have had great successes in just about every kind of niche and every kind of market that you can imagine. The thing, I started developing these strategies when I first started my very first online business in 1996. And I spent about 8 or 9 years from 96 until 2005 using these strategies, developing the strategies, tweaking the strategies in a market that had nothing to do with building your business or marketing or entrepreneurship or anything. It was about the stock market. So it was a completely different market. Then in 2003, I started teaching a few friends about this, and I started to realize these techniques worked in other markets besides in the stock market. And then in 2005, I released Product Launch Formula, very, very first version of Product Launch Formula, and the proof's in the pudding. It's just hundreds of clients, $500 million in sales by my clients, not by me. And it just crushes, and it just keeps on rolling along. It's been continually updated. I keep on updating. I keep on adding in the latest strategies and tactics that I learn that my students bring to me. So this is tested. It's proven. You're in the right place. This will work for you. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was just overall conceptual Product Launch Formula here. So this is one of my successes early on was because I realized that the online world, the internet, was a great place to use a lot of the old school direct marketing tactics and strategies. So even though I had no background in old school direct marketing, I studied it because that was the only thing you could study back in 1996. There was no one teaching how to build your online business, how to market online, anything like that. So I went back old school and I started studying some of the old school masters. And there's been stuff since the 1920s that you could study about old school direct marketing. So that's where my first leanings and education was. I'm going to just say marketing. I'm going to abbreviate there. So direct marketing. So one of the core fundamentals in direct marketing is there's 3 things. There's list, there's offer, and there's copy. Okay? 3 big sections in direct marketing. And the way it works so list is basically the list, and back then it would be like direct mail usually, or you might be advertising in a magazine or a newspaper, but usually a lot of times direct mail. So it would be the list that you were mailing. A lot of times you would rent a list or buy a list and send that direct mail. So you would always have to worry about getting the right list, because if you had a list of people that were interested in fly fishing and you tried to teach or sell them something about playing guitar, you were not going to get great results, because some of those fly fisher people are probably interested in guitar, but not many of them, not all of them. So you had to get the right list. And then offer is like, what are you actually offering them? What are you going to give them? What do they get when they place an order with you, when they buy your stuff? And then copy is the sales copy. And back then it was usually direct marketing, like letters, sales letters, but it would be like printed out and sent to them or in an advertisement. So there was list, offer, and copy. And the way it worked is, if you could actually not get one of these right, you could sort of screw up on one of these and do okay. So if you had the right list and the right offer, but you didn't have great copy, you'd still be okay. And if you had a lousy offer, but you had the right list and you had great copy, you'd probably be okay. You might get a lot of returns, but you'd probably make a lot of sales. And then if you didn't really have a list, if you just had a general list, and it wasn't very targeted, but you had an incredible offer and an incredible copy, then you'd be okay. So I like to give an example, Gary Halbert, who, a legendary copywriter who passed away several years ago, legendary direct marketing copywriter. And I actually got to meet Gary on a few occasions and go out to dinner with him once. So that was really cool. brilliant genius. And he had the example of like, if you had a hamburger stand, what is the one thing that you would want more than anything else in your marketing? And he said, well, you have a hamburger stand. You could take all the copy in the world and throw it away. If you had a crowd of starving people, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter how good your food was. It doesn't matter how you advertised it, what the copy was. As long as you had a starving, like just they're voracious, you're going to sell a lot of hamburgers, right? So you have the right offer at the right time. On the other hand, like if you have some people that are just mildly hungry, but you have just a fantastic offer, you got free hamburgers, and you advertise it in a really great way, you're probably going to be able to, either give away or sell a bunch of food, okay? And then the final one was like, if you had hungry people and you had a bunch of burgers, you probably don't need good copy. So you can see how you can drop one of those three out of there and you still be okay. Now, if you get all three of them working, then you win. That's when you're going to have this massive, massive success. So that's old school marketing. Now, the interesting thing in our world with Product Launch Formula, we've changed this around a little bit because you don't so much need a list because you're going to be building your own list. Maybe down the road, you'll start advertising, you can start buying lists, sort of that old school way, and there are ways to do that ethically. But what you're going to be doing is you're going to be building a business where the focus of the business is to continue to build your list, and one of the best ways to do it is with Product Launch Formula. So, and then in terms of the offer, the great thing about Product Launch Formula is because of the launch conversation you're going to have as you release pre-launch content, the market is going to tell you what your offer should be. That's the beautiful thing. And same thing, and because of the sequential nature of your launch, you're not depending on one great sales letter. So you're able to tune your copy as you go through your launch. So these three things they build themselves for you as you go through your launch, which is a beautiful thing. Now, I do have another diagram for you that I want to draw real quick, and maybe through the magic of editing here, while I erase, we'll take a quick cut and we'll come back for that. Okay, so now I've got a little fancier diagram. So this is Product Launch Formula, okay? So let's just put a little PLF over here. So these three circles in the center come down to, I'm just going to abbreviate because I had to make everything a little smaller. We're going to say this is stories, and this is sequences. So I'm going to put SE in stories, sequences, and triggers. Okay. And this is really what, I'm just going to try to write that out. So it's stories and sequences. So PLF really does come down to stories, sequences, and triggers. And that's what you're going to be learning as we go through. We're going to dive deep in Module 1 and 2 into story. And then beyond that, we're going to get into sequences. And we're also going to get into triggers right away in the first two modules. So you're going to get the core of this in these first two modules. And then out here, these big circles, that's your list. And what you're going to find, the more you focus on your stories and your triggers and your sequences, the more you build your list. And we'll be getting into details on how all this works. But you're going to start off with this initial, this is sort of like your fan base, that first circle. Then the second circle, it just keeps on growing and growing because you start to build your client list then. And then beyond there is the much bigger list is your prospect list. And these continually expand as you stack your launches, as you go from one launch to another launch. I know this is super conceptual right now, but this is the core of PLF. It isn't like you're focused with the old school direct marketing where I got to go buy this list. What you're doing is you're putting the stories, triggers, and sequences into your marketing, and that will make you attractive as you start to share this stuff, and it just naturally expands your markets. Now down the road, you might end up, you put together a great launch and you get into evergreen, you can start buying traffic out here and really building up here. But initially, just through word of mouth, you're going to build up these inner two circles. So that's sort of in a nutshell, Product Launch Formula. Now, there are a few elephants in the room. Let's just run through them. List, products, this only works for high-priced products. It only works for gurus. It only works for make-money products. I know a lot of people have those things running through your mind. Well, the list, I know this is conceptual, but I'm going to be showing you in these next few modules exactly how you use a launch to build a list. A launch is the best way to build a list. I mean, that first business I had, that list grew slowly over like 8 or 9 years. I finally got that up to like 80,000 people on that list. That was awesome. But my new business, when I used Product Launch Formula and I used the JV launch, I was able to build well over 100,000 people in a very short period of time, much shorter than I did in that first business. Product, it's the seed launch. It's how you build products. It's how you build great products. In terms of whether you need to be a guru, well, I think a lot of people see me now as an expert or maybe even a guru. I wasn't one when I started. It's because I did launches that I became seen as one. And if you go look at almost every one of my peers in this market, they are the same way. They didn't start off as gurus. They did launches and became known as gurus. And in terms of, does it work for make money products, or does it only work for products about making money? No, it's been used for learning guitar and learning piano and health food and raw food and meditation and brain trauma and learning soccer and learning baseball and so many different markets. And high dollar products, I mean, John Gallagher, my prototypical case study, his main product is a $10 a month membership site, and he absolutely crushes it. And frankly, I love to do case studies with people who are not in those make money markets, and I love to feature students, and I would love to feature you. So when you do your launch, send an email in to my support at Product Launch Formula, because I would love to do a case study with you. But the bottom line is this is proven and it's going to work for you. The other thing is Product Launch Formula goes way beyond launches. Really what I'm at about here, I'm going to teach you how to do launches, but I'm really trying to restructure the DNA of your business, because this is a new business world. I mean, the thing now is it's about connection and transparency and authenticity, and this is this is how you reach the market now. You deliver value first, and then you ask for the sale. So just quickly, as we wrap this up, there's 2 things that will hold you back in this program. And the first one is, I knew that. Please don't fall into looking and say, I already knew that, just go on. I don't have to, whatever, Jeff, move on. Don't do that. Don't just tune out and say, I already knew that. Because a lot of these things I'm doing, they might look like you've seen this before, but I have major twists on almost everything. Don't be too, as Joe Polish says, don't be too cool for school. Love that saying. I recently, Ryan Deiss, who is an incredible marketer, someone I've known since he was in college, and just incredible business entrepreneur. And he recently, he called me up and said, Jeff, I need to get into PLF. So I set him up with PLF, and he went through every single video in the entire course. And then he did a $3.6 million launch. This guy's one of the best marketers in the world I know. He went through every single video. Stu McLaren, another great marketer I know, did the same thing. He recently did a launch. He went back and went through every single video, even though he's done dozens of launches. So if those guys can go through it, you can go through it. So don't be too cool for school. Just turn off that I knew that thing. And then the other thing is, I disagree. Jeff, I've seen that, and that isn't how it worked for me. That's not going to work for me. I disagree. Well, I've got some skills here. I've been doing this stuff for a long time. Just follow the plan. The plan works. So those are the 2 things. Just try to turn those off. A lot of us, we got that in our brain. We just automatically, I disagree or I knew that. And those 2 things will hold you back. So finally, community. In Product Launch Formula, community is absolute key. Jumping in and taking part in the community will drive you further, farther, faster. Getting involved, getting support, giving support is the way you win. So I just want you to practice at this. I want you to scroll down and leave a comment for me. If you don't have any comment on anything I've covered here, if you don't have any questions, fine. Just scroll down there and say, I'm here. I mean, you can do that every single time for every one of these videos. I'm here, Jeff. That's all I want to know. I want to know that you're here, and I just want to get you in the practice of participating in a community, because that will drive you further. So in the next video, I'm really going to cover the what. What's actually in the course, what's where, and how do you go through it.